Koboh, a forgotten planet in the Outer Rim, wild, desolate, and seemingly insignificant in the galaxy's grand conflicts. To many, it's just a dust-covered backwater where prospectors search for minerals, exiles build new lives, and settlers try to survive. But Koboh is more than that. Beneath its cracked surface and beneath the shadow of its broken moon lies a world shaped by the legacy of the Jedi, the collapse of the High Republic, and the ghosts of a time when hope still dared to reach beyond the stars. Koboh lies in a remote part of the galaxy, far from the grip of Coruscant or the core worlds. It's not part of any major trade route, and it has no grand cities or powerful institutions. But that remoteness is exactly what once made it attractive to the Jedi Order, and later, to those with far less noble intentions. The planet itself is rugged and harsh. The landscape is carved with canyons and dried riverbeds, pocked with crumbling mesas, deep mines and patches of stubborn forest clinging to the rocky terrain. Life here is slow and hard. The people are tough, resourceful, and mostly left to their own devices. In Rambler's Reach, a small frontier town, a saloon run by Grease Drydas offers food and shelter to anyone with enough credits, or at least a good story. But even this worn-down place carries the echoes of a time long gone. Centuries ago, during the High Republic era, Koboh was chosen by the Jedi as a research site. Not for war, not for conquest, but for exploration and study. Deep beneath its surface and in the canyons that wind through its wilderness, Jedi temples and facilities were constructed. Few outside the Order even knew of them. They were hidden for a reason. The Jedi presence on Koboh was subtle, but it left its mark. Temples infused with the Force, cryptic mechanisms buried in the rock, ancient droids still performing tasks they were programmed for hundreds of years ago. The High Republic didn't just build structures, it built intentions. It wanted to illuminate the unknown. But the frontier has a way of swallowing those intentions whole. At some point, the Jedi left Koboh. Whether it was due to shifting priorities, internal conflict, or something darker, the Order abandoned its sights here. The structures faded into legend. The Force grew quiet. The wild reclaimed what it could, but it never forgot. Above Koboh hangs a grim reminder of that lost era, its shattered moon. Once a beacon of research and scientific advancement, the moon hosted a High Republic facility unlike any other in the sector. Sleek architecture, golden trim, droid attendants, all now reduced to silent wreckage. What remains is a fractured celestial body, torn apart by a catastrophic event that no record clearly explains. Whatever the cause, the moon's destruction was total. Whole sections drift endlessly through space, linked by unstable gravity. The ruins still hang there, haunting the skies over Koboh, a broken monument to ambition and collapse. Explorers who brave the zero-gravity corridors of the moon's ruins find shattered databanks, malfunctioning machinery, and haunting clues about what once was, including the fates of those left behind. Droids still walk their ancient patrol routes. Lights flicker in forgotten corridors. Time has stopped, but the damage remains fresh. The shattered moon is not just destroyed physically, it is symbolically annihilated. What was once a symbol of knowledge now serves as a cautionary tale that even the brightest minds can make the gravest of errors. Since the rise of Emperor Palpatine, Koboh has become a haven of sorts for those seeking a life away from Imperial scrutiny. Its rough terrain and disconnected location make it ideal for those who want to disappear. smugglers, rogue scientists, ex-Jedi, and colonists seeking freedom from galactic politics. But that isolation doesn't guarantee safety. Imperial presence begins to grow. Mining guilds backed by ruthless corporations muscle into the landscape, exploiting the planet's mineral wealth and ancient secrets alike. And then there are the Bedlam Raiders, a violent band of scavengers and warlords who have taken up residence in the ruins, led by the Jedi warrior Ravis. They patrol the planet's outskirts, harass settlers, and plunder any remaining technology from the High Republic ruins. To the people of Koboh, survival is a daily concern. The land may be free of Coruscant's control, but it's also free of its protection. Though largely forgotten by the galaxy, Koboh remains strong in the Force. It seeps through the rocks, whispers in the wind, and pulses beneath the planet's surface. The ancient Jedi knew it, and those who are attuned to it can still feel its presence. Several areas of the planet hold particular significance: Force echoes, meditation chambers, and puzzle-filled ruins that respond to those strong in the Force. These places are more than just remnants of Jedi architecture. They are reflections of the Order's philosophy, testaments to patience, skill, and spiritual insight. The Force on Koboh isn't loud or aggressive. It's quiet, subtle, dormant until awakened. But for those who listen closely, it still speaks. While Koboh's landscape tells the story of its past, its people tell the story of its present. Rambler's Reach is the heart of this survivalist spirit. Settlers build makeshift homes from scrap. Droids assist with farming, mining, and protection. Grease Dritus, ever the reluctant hero, has established a saloon that becomes a hub for travelers, wanderers, and Force-sensitive exiles alike. He's trying to leave his past behind, but Koboh has a way of pulling the past back into the present. The citizens of Koboh live in a tension between curiosity and caution. The ancient sites attract explorers, treasure hunters, and Force users looking for meaning. But the dangers are real, both from the crumbling ruins themselves and from those who would exploit them. Into this fragile balance come two forces that represent opposing threats: chaos and control. The Bedlam Raiders, with their scavenged tech and brute force, embody chaos. They don't care about Koboh's history or significance. They care about loot dominance and survival on their own terms. Their leader, Ravis, is no mere thug. He follows his own code, but it's a code built on strength and power. Then there's the Empire, cold, methodical, interested not in the people, but in the resources, in the old tech, in the secrets of the Jedi, and in the potential of what lies buried. Where the Raiders destroy, the Empire studies. But the result is the same: subjugation. Koboh becomes a battleground, not just of ideology, but of survival. Its people, its ruins, and even its broken moon become pawns in a game being played far above their heads. Koboh is a planet between times. It still wears the scars of the High Republic, but lives in the shadow of the Empire. It remembers the Jedi, but doesn't worship them. It survives in the present, but is haunted by the past. For Cal Kestis, it becomes a symbol of something deeper. Not just a world to explore, but a world to understand. A world where memory and meaning linger in the dust, where every cave and ruin has a story, where history refuses to be buried. Koboh is not Coruscant or Naboo or Mustafar. It has no galactic renown, but it matters because it shows us what happens in the spaces in between Republic and Empire, between civilization and wilderness, between peace and war. To conclude, Koboh And the shattered moon are not just relics of a forgotten age. They are survivors of it. They remind us that even in the far corners of the galaxy, the echoes of history never truly fade, that every ruin has meaning, that even a shattered moon can reflect something greater than itself. And they ask one simple question: when the galaxy forgets you, what do you become? Thank you for listening to this episode. And don't forget to subscribe to the Liaran Narrative Gaming channel. I'm not planning on making more videos on Jedi Survivor for the moment, but if you ask for it in the comments, I might change my mind. See ya!